Sure, great, and real pleasure to be here amongst these very distinguished presenters. So thank you. I look at it from a broader spectrum, in the sense that if I look at from my CRO's needs, decentralized clinical trials, the abilities to use AI with the potential of digital twins. And I think the issue here is that these things are being built and being discovered and implemented, but the regulatory bodies are a little behind, right? I think in Europe, they actually have one that has used a platform that did enhance with digital twins so that you can shrink the sample size, you may get more diversity, you may be able to get more equity for individuals. If we look at oncology trials, for example, I think the last report said about 8% of the individuals who have cancer represent 45% of the individuals in the clinical trials, and that it's not equally dispersed amongst the different subsets in the population. So it's a little disappointing. We may not be getting as good of information as we can. So by embracing opportunities with AI through digital twins and decentralized studies, this can be really exciting. Also, the ability to pool tons of data. You have experience with EEGs in pediatric neonatal seizures. I mean, having the ability to pull all this data together and analyze it very quickly, almost real time, is going to allow us to have better drug development skills. I also then take my hat off and look at from the capital markets. The funding of clinical trials is very important, funding of the particularly startups, et cetera. And a lot of the AI that the individuals are using from the fund side, from the VCs, and even the family offices is very encouraging too, because they're able to get better understanding of the hurdle rates for certain disease states, their better understanding of how successful a new chemical entity or a new molecular entity may be. So the ability to pull all of that data from the capital market standpoint is going to make for sharper and more pungent investments. And that's important because without the money behind it, innovation can be stale. And so right now we're seeing that these very barren markets when it comes to biotech with the index down, et cetera. But I think AI is going to be able to energize that. And I'm really excited about the opportunity to do that. So where we marry the capital markets to the actual drug development and building of companies is very important, right? And there's a lot of technophobia that still exists from the people who want to pay for it, from the people who want to use it. And we just have to embrace the fact that it may be complex, but it's not complicated. And having AI or digital tools that are mission specific is a good way, baby steps are a good way to bring technology in-house and then to mold it to the individual needs of the various groups within your organization. So for our company, we try to align with the sponsors as much as we can. We try to be very cost efficient. And at the same time, we try to do this in a manner that is within the guidance of the FDA. So as one of the speakers mentioned before, it's getting out there, and it's almost being, to use maybe an unliked term, a virus, right? The strongest viruses are the ones that leave their natural domain and to spread. And if you don't go out there and explain to the rest of the shareholders, the finance people, the regulatory people, the insurers, and the patients, you're going to miss out. I think also one of the things that still is necessity for drug development really is the human part of it. So I think the fact that AI doesn't have EQ is lacking right now. And I don't know if we wanted to, but that, patient-centric, professional-centric, person-centric element is still missing. And in drug development, I think it's important to have all the different types of assays that were mentioned in categories and libraries. But, if you go back to Paul Janssen and Sir William Black, et cetera, they'll tell you that a lot of times the most potent discoveries are the ones that were there by accident, right? And so it's important that we do continue to embrace it Small steps, I think, is what's needed for our regulators and also for investors. And as was just mentioned by the prior speaker, to get adaptation internally. If you go and take a 20-year veteran who is maybe a little technophobic in a sense like I am, you're going to be very skittish. So what do? I rely on my younger staff, and I tell them the mission is where this company is, not now, but where it's going to be in the future. And how are you going to take me there? That's why I love working with Ingrid, because every time I speak to her, I learn more and more. And then it's understanding what's best value and can be adopted and integrated into your system so that the stakeholders all benefit, including the patients. Sure. So right now we're actually working on a blueprint on what the next 10 years or 20 years for the company will look like. And these include patient recruiting methods by using novel things like the metaverse, right? We're exploring that. We think that's really cool. We're also looking at, we were built on a platform of market aligned planning. So very early on, we bring commercial people into the process, and we let those commercial people weigh in on the probability of success as a commercial entity or through market access from a global standpoint. So we're trying to streamline that process and automate market aligned planning. Which is really a hallmark of drug development. So we're trying to add additional elements to that part of it. And again, from our standpoint, the more that we can connect our investors to understanding the actual development process of a certain drug or the impact it will have on society, it allows us to have a better rapport with them, and even more, a stronger commitment, particularly when times get tough, right? Everybody can go out and try to develop a drug. It's really, it's when you have rough seas that will make good sailors, right? And that's why it's so important that we're able to bring as much of that back end up forward to our commercial people and to our finance people, those financing the operations that we do. So we're more on the same page in real time. And that's always a problem. So, part of it is, how do we integrate this information to the boardroom, right? The board members need to know what's going on, right? What's going on with the investment? When's the exit? Why is it taking so long with FDA? And being able to streamline that information, I think brings a lot of value to the whole process. So we're in the stage right now where it's more blueprinting. We're looking to find the right strategics. We don't believe that we have to grow it all ourselves. We think that there are companies out there or individuals themselves that can team up with some of our very seasoned individuals and with their talent, skill, animate what we're doing. And that's the whole process we're at. So we're sort of in the blueprint phase right now. We have different projects that are ongoing. The electronic source document that integrates seamlessly with the EDCs, that's been very helpful. For the larger, more complex studies where we have multiple databases that need to be integrated very quickly, we're able to use certain AI that, from what my team tells me, will reduce the time that we get the initial readout data by 2 or 3 months. So it's that type of process that we're in right now, more of a blueprint with certain implementation. Like I said, I really like the metaverse. I joined it with a couple dermatology subjects, and it was fun, And